Commander Jack Arden sat on a broken bench at the edge of the alien city of Velkarine, staring up at the sky. Bright blue rings circled the planet above, and flying creatures with glass wings zipped through the clouds. It would have been beautiful. If Jack wasn't already tired of everything alien, he was the last known human in this part of the galaxy. Earth was gone. Just ... Gone. No one really knew what happened. One moment, Earth was there, full of people, cities, music, and life. The next, it vanished in a strange flash of light. Ships that tried to reach the solar system found only debris, dust, and silence. The great human colonies went dark. A few humans scattered across the stars either died, disappeared, or gave up, except Jack. He didn't die, didn't disappear. He didn't give up. Instead, he became a problem. The aliens on Velkarine had rules. Many rules. Jack broke most of them by accident, and a few on purpose. He spoke too loudly. He shook hands. He smiled at the wrong people. Once, he tried to explain sarcasm to a seven-eyed diplomat from the Glavian Empire. The diplomat fainted. Now, Jack was banned from 12 different embassies, and officially listed as a mild social hazard by the Galactic Council. But he didn't care. He wasn't here to make friends. He was here for Queen. Why or so? Queen. Irshala was the ruler of the Zurithi Hive, a massive alien empire of insect-like beings. Her species was proud, intelligent, and very private. No outsiders were allowed into the hive. No one had seen the Queen in person for years. She ruled through messages, dreams, telepathic whispers. But Jack had a feeling. Something about the hive didn't make sense. Their ships had started patrolling near the ruins of Sol. Their tech had strange human symbols on it. And sometimes, during certain broadcasts, Jack swore he heard Earth languages hidden in the background noise. He believed Irshala knew something. Something about Earth. About what really happened. So he sent her messages. Dozens of them. Your Majesty, I know we've never met, but I think we need to talk. You ever hear of pizza? No. I'll explain. If you know what happened to Earth, please tell me. Still here? Still annoying? Love, Jack. He received no replies. It's just a single warning message. Cease communication. Human. You trespass on sacred thought. Of course, Jack didn't stop. One day, while drinking something green and probably poisonous at a local spaceport bar, Jack saw a strange insectoid servant. The being was glowing slightly and carried a sealed silver pod. Jack followed it. Quietly, the servant moved through alleyways, past guards, and into the lower levels of the city. Jack hid behind crates, ducked through steam vents, and climbed into a moving waste cart. At the end of the trail, the servant placed the pod into a transport box marked Hive Royalty, private only. Jack smirked. He'd found the Queen's transport route. That night, dressed in a stolen maintenance drone suit and still smelling like garbage, Jack climbed aboard the royal transport. The inside was nothing like he expected. The ship was warm, soft and alive. The walls pulsed gently, like a giant lung. Golden light flowed through veins in the ceiling. And at the far end, sitting on a throne made of living crystal, was Queen. She was tall, nearly 3 meters. Her exoskeleton shimmered in purple, blue, and gold. Large wings folded neatly behind her. Her face had mandibles, but her eyes were deep and intelligent. She saw him instantly. Human, she hissed, her voice echoing inside his skull. Why don't you leave me alone? Jack raised his hands. Hi, sorry. Yes, breaking the law. Very rude, but I had to talk. To you, Irshala stood. Energy crackled in her claws. The walls of the ship reacted to her anger. Vines tightened. Light dimmed. You enter my vessel. You risk war. You disturb the quiet. You think you are special. Jack swallowed hard. He was scared, but he forced himself to speak. No, I think I'm alone. That's worse than special. Irshala paused. Her mandibles twitched. Her eyes narrowed. You are alone because your kind vanished. It's not my fault. Maybe not, Jack said, but I've seen your ships near Sol. I've heard human code in your systems. You know something. Irashala turned her back to him. She seemed tired, older than she looked. You speak too much, like all humans did. Always noise. Always questions. We asked because we cared, Jack said. We explored because we hoped. And now we're gone. I'm the last one who remembers what pizza tastes like, what a dog smells like, what it feels like to fall asleep to rain.
Ow.
Silence. The ship grew still. Irashala didn't turn around. Then she said something Jack didn't expect. I dreamed of your world, once, before it burned. Jack stepped forward slowly. Please, just tell me what you know. She faced him again. Her anger had faded. Now there was something else. Pain, regret. Leave now, before I change my mind. Jack nodded. Fine, but I'll be back. I always come back. He turned and left the ship, his heart pounding. He hadn't learned much, but now he was sure. Queen Irsalan knew what happened to Earth, and whether she liked it or not. Jack Arden wasn't going to leave her alone. Jack Arden woke up on a cold bench in the Velkarine outer market. His back ached, his legs were sore, and someone had drawn something rude on his cheek in alien ink. Perfect, muttered, rubbing it off with his sleeve. It had been 2 days since he met Queen Irashala. It's 2 days since she screamed at him and told him to leave her alone. But Jack wasn't the kind of man who listened to threats, especially not from someone who might know what destroyed Earth. He had a new mission. Now get close to the Queen again. Not to annoy her, well, maybe a little. But to find the truth. Jack knew one thing for sure. The Queen wasn't just hiding. She was being controlled. Every royal action passed through the Hive Council, a group of powerful old insects who called themselves voices of unity. But Jack had noticed something strange. When he asked about Ursula's personal orders, no one gave a straight answer. When he asked Hive soldiers about her, they got nervous. And when he searched the databanks of the council, he found something terrifying. Queen Irashala hadn't given a public command in 5 years. Her voice was used, but only in recorded messages. Her psychic signal was weak, like it was being blocked. Jack leaned back in his chair in a small information hub and sighed. She's a prisoner in her own empire, he said quietly, and no one sees it. He stood up. Time to make noise. Next day, Jack walked straight into the Hall of Echoes, the center of Zurithi politics. It was a tall, glowing tower shaped like a spiral fang. Guards blocked him, but Jack waved a forged diplomatic badge and a fake invitation from the Glavian Peace Guild. It worked. It's mostly because no one ever expected a human to be dumb enough to try. Inside the hall, tall insectoid officials floated. In silence on anti-gravity pads, information lights flickered above their heads, showing policies, votes, and messages. The air smelled like old honey and hot metal. Jack cleared his throat. No one looked at him. He cleared it louder. Still nothing. Then he shouted, I want to speak to the Queen. How they looked. Whispers buzzed through the chamber. One of the Hive counselors glided forward. Her wings were old and cracked, her eyes dull. Outsiders. Jack smiled. I'm not an outsider. I'm the only human left. Then speak to our council. We carry her words. Jack shook his head. No, you carry her silence. You're hiding her. Gasps. A few angry clicks. To guards. Stepped forward. You will leave now, the counselor said coldly. But Jack had planned this. He pressed a button on his wrist. A hidden projector lit up the chamber, showing a video recording. It was from Queen Irshala's ship 2 days ago, it showed. Her screaming at Jack. More importantly, it showed her alive, moving, speaking directly, something the Hive had claimed she no longer did. This is from 2 days ago, Jack said. She's not silent. She's not sick. You're keeping her locked up. The chamber exploded into noise. The counselor's face twisted in rage. You will be punished for this. Jack winked. Already punished. I'm the last human alive, remember? That night, they came for him. He was staying in a small inn in the lower levels of the city when he heard the scratching sound. Claws. On metal, Jack grabbed his plasma knife, but he was too slow. The door blew open, and 3 Zurithi guards rushed in. One sprayed spores that paralyzed Jack's limbs. Another grabbed him by the shirt. You are under arrest for false speech and breach of sacred record, the leader said. They dragged him through the streets and into an unmarked shuttle. It wasn't heading to court, it was heading deep underground. Jack woke up inside a glowing cage. The walls pulsed with energy, and a psychic field buzzed in his skull. Across from him stood a shadowy figure, tall, elegant, and watching. Queen Ursula, why are you still here? She said, voice softer. Now Jack groaned, sitting up. I told you I don't give up easily, challenged the Hive Council. That is death. Maybe, but I proved they're hiding you. You think you were clever, human, but you were just loud. Jack grinned. Loud works. The Queen stepped closer. For the first time, her posture relaxed. Why do you chase truth? Earth is gone. You cannot bring it back. Jack looked at her seriously. No, but I can make sure the galaxy doesn't forget us. I can make sure you don't forget. Ursula paused. Then she opened her hand and showed him a crystal shard. It glowed softly, and inside, Jack saw something that made his heart stop. A message. In English. From Earth Satellite Network, we received this. Just before Soul vanished, she whispered. Jack's eyes widened. It's human code. It was sent to me, directly, only me. Why? Because you're scientists. And mine once worked together, secretly years ago. Jack stared. You're saying Earth and the Hive were allies? No, not allies. Partners in something ancient, something dangerous. Jack's mind raced. Do you know what the project was? Ursula turned away. Not yet, but the signal came from a hidden place. A moon the Hive abandoned long ago. A moon where the partnership began. Jack stood, adrenaline kicking in. Then take me there. Allah. Looked back at him. For the first time, she didn't look angry or annoyed. She looked curious. Why should I trust a human? 'Cause I'm the only one who came looking, Jack said simply. Everyone else gave up. Silence then, softly she said. Prepare yourself, Jack Arden. We go to the Moon of Teeth. The ship launched in secret from the lowest bay of Valkyrene. Jack sat beside the alien queen in silence. Neither of them spoke. But in that quiet, something changed. They were no longer enemies. They were no longer alone. They were allies. Chasing the last truth of Earth, hidden in the shadows of the Hive. The ship flew through silent space, hidden behind black shields. It was a Hive stealth craft, shaped like a winged blade. Grown, not built from living material. Inside, Jack Arden sat in the co-pilot's seat, watching the stars slide past. Next to him sat Queen Ursula, calm and quiet. Her sharp eyes focused on the route. They were heading to a place no one dared visit anymore. The Moon of Teeth. It was once a research colony shared by Hive scientists and a secret group of human scientists. Soldiers, thinkers, a place where two species worked together on something ancient. Now it was a cursed name, wiped from Hive records. So why is it called the Moon of Teeth? Jack asked, trying to break the silence. Ursula didn't turn her head. Because the land grows teeth. Jack blinked. I was hoping that was a metaphor. It is not. Jack leaned back, rubbing his face. Of course it isn't. The ship entered orbit. The moon came into view. It was dark gray and jagged, covered in sharp ridges like the jaws of a giant beast. Craters filled with bone-white spires glowed faintly. The Hive ship trembled as it passed through the old defense. Ring. Broken turrets still floated in orbit, some sparking, others completely dead. No one's been here in years, Ursula said. Yeah, Jack replied, checking his gun. Let's hope it stays that way. They landed in a clearing surrounded by twisted towers. Each tower looked like a fang, curved and sharp, some half buried in the moon soil. The air was breathable, barely, but thick with dust and spores. Jack stepped out first, scanning the area. He carried a plasma pistol and a flashlight. Ursula followed, her wings folded tight, her claws glowing faintly. Strange creatures watched. From the shadows, half insect, half machine, broken experiments, leftovers from long-abandoned tests. This place feels wrong, Jack said. It should, Ursula, replied. This is where the hive first touched the dark. It moved carefully through the ruins. Inside one of the towers, they found old labs. Some had human tech holograms, lab coats, data pads. Others had hive equipment, organic growths, psychic walls, strange spore gardens. The two styles didn't mix. It was like two minds forced to work side by side. Jack found a rusted locker. With Earth's flag still barely visible, inside was a broken voice recorder. He pressed play. Test 34 failed. Subject entered dream-state ... and didn't come back. Zarethi Queen says the signal might be too strong. We disagree. She doesn't trust us. End log. Dr. Lin, Earth. Jack looked at Irshala. You were here? She nodded. Yes, I was young. I didn't understand then. Understand. What? That your people were trying to control something even we feared. They moved deeper underground, into the main lab vault. The doors were sealed by DNA locks. Irshala placed her claw on the scanner. It clicked, buzzed, and opened with a heavy hiss. Inside was a wide chamber, walls glowing blue. In the center stood a huge pod made of crystal and steel. And floating inside it, still alive, still breathing, was a human, a woman. Jack ran to the control panel. This ... This is impossible. Irshala approached slowly. She was the lead scientist. She fused her mind with the project. They called it the Last Nexus. Jack stared at the pod. The woman inside looked peaceful, her hair floating in. Fluid, eyes closed. Her name tag still read, Dr. Lin. What's the Last Nexus? Jack asked. Irshala touched the glass. It was a machine, but also a mind. It could connect stars, minds, and species. A living gate between thought and space, like a telepathic wormhole. Yes, but it needed sacrifice. Human minds were too fragile. Hive minds were too controlled. Together, ... tried to balance. Jack looked again at Dr. Lin. So, she became the gate. She became the seed. If she wakes, the Nexus might bloom again. Before they could say more, chamber lights turned red. Something was coming. From the shadows above, claws scraped against metal. Large shapes dropped from the ceiling, twisted hive creatures, deformed and wild. Old security beasts left behind. And mutated by time, they attacked. Jack fired first, shooting glowing plasma bolts. One beast shrieked and dropped. Another leaped at Irshala. She spun and sliced with her glowing claws, tearing it apart midair. More are coming. Jack shouted. They fought back to back, dodging, striking, moving fast. But there were too many. Fall back to the ship, Jack yelled. Irshala opened a path with a psychic scream, stunning the creatures. They ran through tunnels, Jack blasting. The ceiling behind them to block the way. Outside, the ship's auto-defense systems activated. Laser turrets popped out, blasting at the charging creatures. Jack climbed aboard, panting. Irshala followed, blood on her arms, but alive. Go, she roared. The ship lifted off, just as the moon's surface cracked beneath them. One of the towers collapsed, sending debris flying. Jack looked down as they flew away. The lab was destroyed, but in his hand he held a data crystal taken from the control panel. It contained Dr. Lin's final logs. You got it? Irshala asked. Jack nodded. Yeah, but the lab's gone. I don't think it was an accident. Those beasts weren't wild. They were waiting. Irshala's eyes glowed with anger. Someone knew we would come. Jack sat down, exhausted. Then we're not just chasing a mystery anymore. We're running from a war. Back in orbit, the ship entered stealth mode. Jack placed the data crystal into the hive's translator. A hologram lit up. Dr. Lin appeared, flickering and tired. If you're hearing this, I failed. The Last Nexus is unstable. Hive minds resist it. Human minds break. But Irshala, if you're alive, you'll have the balance. Your DNA holds the final key. Irshala froze. Jack looked at her. She's saying, you're the key. Not just a ruler, but a living bridge. Message continued. Earth is not dead. It was ... moved. folded into the nexus. We tried to protect it. But something else touched it too. Find the gate. Open it, or Earth is lost forever. The message ended. Jack sat quietly for a moment, then he smiled. We're going to bring Earth back. Ursula said nothing. But her expression was no longer cold. She stood up. Then we must return. But the council will not allow this. They will call us traitors. Jack grinned. Good. I'm used to that. Ursula tilted her head. You are not like the humans we studied. I hope not, Jack said. They're all gone. I only have one chance to get this right. She looked at him for a long moment. Then softly she said, You are no longer just a nuisance, Jack. Arden, you are ... necessary. Jack laughed. Still the best compliment I've gotten all year. As the ship flew back to hive space, carrying a secret that could change the galaxy. Two very different beings sat together, a human with nothing to lose and a queen with everything to hide. But now they had one thing in common: hope. The hive capital of Velkarine glittered like a web of fireflies floating in space. But beneath its peaceful lights, something dark was stirring. The Hive Council had learned of Queen Irshala's secret journey to the Moon of Teeth, and now they wanted her removed, back aboard the stealth ship. Jack Arden stood with his arms crossed as Ursula spoke through the communicator. She was speaking with a loyal Hive General Commander Czech, a rare ally who still believed in the Queen's authority. They are preparing to lock you inside the throne core, Teshek warned. They say you are mentally compromised. They want to name a new queen. Jack stepped forward. Can we fight back? Jack's mandibles clicked. Not with force. Not yet. But there are those who still follow the old code. If you show yourself truly alive, they may resist. Ursula nodded. Then I must return. And not in secret. I must walk into the hive. In full view, Jack shook his head. That's suicide. Ursula looked at him, calm but firm. What? It is the only way. If I do not act now, they will. Erase me. The ship changed course and raced toward the capital as they approached. Hive fighters rose to block them, but Ursula activated the royal sigil. Her identity could not be denied. The guards froze in space, then slowly moved aside. Message flashed from the council. The Queen returns. Prepare the Chamber of Judgment. Jack looked at her. Judgment sounds ... friendly. Ursula didn't smile. It never is. The Chamber of Judgment was the most sacred place in the hive, a towering hall shaped like a hollow mountain. Its walls shimmered with psychic light. Thousands of hive citizens floated or stood on balconies. Watching silently in the center stood the 13 high counselors, draped in living silk. Their eyes glowed with power and fear. Ursula walked in first. Jack walked at her side. The whispers began immediately. The human again. This is madness. She dares bring him here. The lead counselor Saval spoke with cold authority. Queen Ursula, you left the capital without permission. You endangered the hive. You consorted with a primitive alien. Jack leaned toward Ursula and whispered, They really like me, huh? She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped forward and spoke in a strong, clear voice. You say I endangered the hive, but it is you who endanger it by hiding the truth. The hall went silent. Earth is not dead. It is sealed. The last nexus was real. The experiments were real, and you lied about them. Saval snarled. That research was forbidden for a reason. Jack stepped up. Forbidden because it worked. Saval's mandibles clicked in anger. You are not welcome here, human. Jack ignored him. He pulled the data crystal from his pocket and inserted it into the hall's main projector. Dr. Lin's hologram appeared. If you're hearing this, I failed. But the last nexus can still open. Ursula, your DNA is the key. You carry the balance between hive and human. Gasps spread through the crowd. Some counselors looked at each other nervously. Jack pointed at the crowd. She's not broken. She's the solution. You want to silence her because you fear what comes next? Saval roared. This is treason. Ursula stared at him. No, this is truth. And if you fear truth, then you have no right to rule. The hall exploded in noise shouts, screams, psychic echoes. Suddenly, Counselor Saval raised a claw. A signal passed through the chamber. From the shadows, black armored guards stepped forward. Not Hive soldiers and forcers. Loyal only to the council, they raised their weapons. Ursula turned to Jack. Run. Jack shook his head. Not happening. You cannot fight them. Jack grinned. I brought a surprise. Or pressed a button on his wrist. From the sky, a second ship roared into view. It was old, rusted, covered in human symbols. A Terran resistance. A frigate from its cargo doors dropped a team of exiled soldiers humans who had escaped Earth's collapse. Survivors Jack had found during his earlier travels. They had been in hiding, waiting for something to believe in. Now they had it. They charged into the chamber. Weapons blazing, covering Jack and Arso. Show croak out. The Hive crowd scattered. The enforcers fought fiercely, but so did the humans and Ursula's loyal Hive guards. Led by Commander Teshek, stormed in moments later with dozens of warriors. Jack and Ursula fought back to back again, starting to miss the moon of teeth. Jack shouted. Less screaming there, Ursula replied, slicing through two attackers. Jack laughed. I think I like you now. She didn't respond, but she didn't deny it either. After minutes of brutal combat, the enforcers were defeated. Saval stood alone, cornered. You think this changes anything? The Hive needs order, not chaos? Ursula walked toward him. The Hive needs truth. She raised her clan. Saval was dragged away by her loyal guards. The chamber fell silent again. Ursula turned to the watching Hive citizens. I am not silent. I was never gone. The Nexus is real. Earth can still be found, and I will lead that journey. Some stared in shock. Others bowed slowly, and a few began to chant her name. Ursula, Ursula. Later, in a quiet chamber overlooking the Hive city, Jack sat with a healing pack on his shoulder. Ursula stood at the window, watching the stars. You saved them, he said quietly. She turned. No, we saved each other. Jack nodded. We still need to find the Nexus gate. We will. The crystal gave us coordinates. A system beyond the Graveline. The what? A region where stars no longer shine. The Hive calls it cursed, but it may be where Earth was hidden. Jack stood. Well then, he said, what are we waiting for? Ursula smiled just slightly. For once, human. I agree. They turned together, ready to walk into the next unknown. Enemies behind them. A broken world ahead, but united now by purpose and something deeper, trust. The ship slipped quietly through the dark clouds of the Grave Line. Stars were few and far between here, swallowed by cosmic dust and silence. Jack Arden sat at the helm, eyes scanning the empty void ahead. Ursula stood beside him, her wings folded, but her posture strong and alert. Behind them lay the Hive capital, the battle that had changed everything. Ahead was a mystery older than either of them. This is it, Ursula said softly. The coordinates from the crystal, the place where Earth was folded into the Nexus. Jack nodded. Feels like we're walking into a trap. Ursula smiled faintly. Sometimes the only way to find truth is to risk everything. Ship entered an uncharted system. One planet hung in orbit around a dying star, its surface covered in strange glowing symbols. It's artificial, Jack said, eyes wide. Someone built this. Ursula touched the control panel. Is this a gate? A gate? Ursula nodded. The last Nexus was never just a machine. It was a gateway between minds, species, and worlds. Earth was folded through this gate to keep it safe. Or maybe to hide it. Jack stared at the planet, the gate pulsing faintly in orbit. Can we open it? Ursula's eyes shone bright. I will try. The ship landed on the planet's surface. The air was thin and cold. Round them stretched a great circle of tall stones, covered in glowing runes. Jack and Ursula stepped out. Walking toward the gate's control altar at the center, Ursula placed her claw on the ancient panel. It hummed, lights flickering as the runes glowed brighter. "Stand back," she warned. The air shifted. Suddenly, a great pulse of energy shot from the altar, and the sky above twisted like fabric being pulled. Jack grabbed Ursula's arm. "What's happening?" The gate opened. A swirling portal appeared, a vast, living web of light and shadow. They stepped through together. On the other side was not a place, but a vast space of minds. Thoughts, memories, and feelings flowed around them like rivers of light. Jack saw flashes of Earth cities, forests, oceans, then hive worlds, starships, ancient ruins. "It's a mindscape," Jack said in awe. "The Nexus connects everything." Ursula reached out mentally, her thoughts brushing against the vast network. Earth is here. It waits. Suddenly, a presence appeared, a great shimmering consciousness. "Who enters the last Nexus?" Ursula spoke. "I am Ursula, Queen of the Hive, and this is Jack Arden, human. We come seeking Earth." The presence studied them. "You carry the balance. You are the bridge. But beware, the Nexus is fragile. Darkness lurks." From the shadows, a dark figure emerged, a twisted mind formed from fear and hatred. It whispered lies, trying to turn them against each other. Jack shook his head. Not this time. Ursula focused her psychic power, creating a shield of light around them. Together they pushed back the darkness. The presence nodded approvingly. "You are strong. The Nexus opens to you." The portal expanded, showing a new world, a blue-green planet shining in sunlight. "Earth," Jack whispered. Ursula smiled. "Live. Waiting." Suddenly they were pulled into the vision, walking on Earth's surface, feeling the air and the soil. "It's real," Jack said, tears in his eyes. "We found it." But the vision changed. They saw destruction wars, lost civilizations, but also hope. "Earth's story is not finished," Ursula said. Jack looked at her. "Then we have work to do."
Jack!
The presence spoke again. "The Nexus needs a guardian, one who can unite species and protect its balance." Ursula looked at Jack. "Together." Jack smiled. "Together." They returned through the gate to their ship. The path ahead was clear. Earth was found. The Nexus was theirs to protect, and the Hive and humans would face the future not as enemies, but as allies. As the ship jumped to light speed, Jack looked at Ursula. "You yelled at me to leave you alone once," Ursula smiled, "and now?"
Jack
grinned. "Now we change the galaxy."